Facebook groups are the best way to generate clients online organically. I know because in the last few years, I've been able to generate over $50K in profit per month just utilizing Facebook with no ads. So in today's video, I'll be sharing exactly how you can do the same. All right, guys, I'm gonna do a quick screen share here. And please, before we begin, hit that notification bell and stay subscribed so that you get more videos about lead generation, building sales teams, and in general, growing your business. Now, before we actually start messing around inside Facebook groups, the first thing that you want to do is make sure that your profile is actually optimized. Because the reality is, no matter what you do, if your personal profile on Facebook looks unprofessional, if it doesn't tell your story, if it doesn't actually operate almost like a landing page or some sort of walking advertisement, you're not going to be able to convert people to clients or book sales calls. So that's why for you need to make sure that your cover photo is professional. Maybe you actually talk about your value proposition directly on it. You want to make sure that you have professional posts on your wall that go into customer testimonials that talk about what it is that your value proposition is. You can see here that I actually interview my clients, getting their feedback, talking about their experience working with me. But once in a while, I'll even go into my personal life, share a little bit of a vulnerable story, and that way I can come across to my audience as not just a business person, but also a human being, which oftentimes gets the most amount of engagement. So overall, these are the small things that you should definitely do in your own profile before you even get started in trying to generate clients in Facebook groups. Now, once you've optimized your profile, what do? The first thing that you want to do is you want to go and identify some of the Facebook groups out there that contain your audience. So an example for me is ClickFunnels. Most of the people in this group, they're entrepreneurs, they're software founders, they run coaching or consulting businesses. So this is definitely a good place for me to start. Now, the question is, what do you do once you're in these groups? There's a couple options. The first option is you can actually just start posting content, okay? So here's an example of a post that I made a couple years ago, actually. And here I'm actually just talking about my own experience. Maybe I'm sharing a couple lessons in how I built my own business. And then I'm also going through some of the wins that I've had. This was a month in which I hit around 50,000 in revenue. And if you scroll down here, you can actually start seeing some of the people who are engaging, asking more information about what it is that I'm selling. Kumar is more or less saying, hey, what is your course? I would love to buy it. Scott, Carter, Hassan, all these people are pretty curious to learn a bit more. So it's pretty easy for you to actually start sharing content and getting people who are potentially going to be clients actually invite you to send them a DM, invite you to send them a message. Now, I do want to say, you want to be very careful when you're sharing content in other people's groups. You don't want to be coming across as overly salesy. You definitely don't want to actively try to sell your products because that might get you banned. So you want to keep these posts to be either very complimentary of the admin, or you want to be primarily just sharing helpful advice. And actually, most of my posts in these groups is not just a celebratory post where I talk about my best months ever. It's more so talking about, hey, here's what I did to actually scale to this amount using outbound outreach. Here's what I actually did when it came to building a sales team. Primarily value add. And that way, as long as I'm contributing to the community and teaching people valuable things, I'll stay safe. Here's an actual example in the DMs of someone who might actually start a conversation with me due to a post that I create. So Shamila here actually engaged with one of the content pieces that I put out there. And then because of that, I sent her a friend request and I DM'd her a link to my own Facebook group saying, hey, you should probably join. I have lots more content. And by the way, I will get into building your own Facebook group a little bit later in this video, but just bear with me for a moment. Here, I use this as essentially permission for me to start asking questions and talking a little bit more about her business. And the nice thing is she's already warmed up at this point. If I was to message her 100% cold, she's going to have a lot more resistance. Most likely she's not going to respond. But because of the fact that she's seen my content, she trusts me, and she's pretty much saying, wow, I'm mind blown. Thank you so much. It makes it a lot easier for me to ultimately learn about her business, and B, book a sales call with her. So she's more or less saying, I'm really interested in what you do. I sent her a calendar link and I was able to book a sales call. Eventually we ended up working together. So this is a really great way to pretty much utilize content in other groups to start generating meetings and revenue. Now, I've kind of inferred earlier about building your own group, and I will say eventually it makes a lot of sense for you to start building your own community. And the reason why is because as long as you're in someone else's group, you're still gonna have to follow their rules. You're not gonna have full control over what you're allowed to post because ultimately it's not your tribe. But if you do build your own tribe, then you can more or less do whatever it is that you want. So here is my group. We have around 5,000 people. And in this group, I can more or less reach out to my tribe and I can market to them however I want. I can share with them valuable content. And since they know me, it's very easy for me to book additional sales calls. For example, here, you can just click to the content and you can see I made a very, very simple post just talking about appointment setters, and more or less everyone here is opting into, hey, I would like to learn more. And the cool thing about this as well is that you can start collecting data on your members. So I have currently 93 members that are trying to join my group. And the cool thing is I can actually ask multiple questions when these members are trying to join my group, and it allows me to learn about their offer. It allows me to learn about their situation, and I can even collect their email and put them onto my email autoresponder, right? The first thing is I can ask them for their email, and that way I can continuously nurture them with additional email content and newsletters. And then I can start to ask questions about what type of business are they building, and do they want additional support when it comes to building sales teams or improving their marketing funnels. And of course, their answers are really informative because based on their answers, I can decide whether or not I want to pursue a conversation with them. And of course, if they're pretty much saying, yes, I would like you to message me with more information, that could be a very easy meeting booked. Now, the tool that I like to use to automatically pull these emails directly into my email autoresponder is GroupKit. Because the thing about Facebook is that they didn't initially build Facebook groups for business development. They essentially built it for people who have similar hobbies and interests to just be able to build communities, right? So there's no real easy way for you to be able to take this email and plug it in to whatever email autoresponder you're using. Until now, GroupKit is actually a tool that I personally use, and it allows me to essentially take all of these people who are giving me their emails, and it automatically just throws it into my email autoresponder just with a click of a button. So if you want to use this tool, if you want to try a 14-day free trial, I'll actually provide a link in the description box below, and you can check it out, and it'll help your Facebook group massively so that you can start collecting some of those emails. The next thing that I'll talk about is what I call a honeypot post. So essentially, you can also just have these free giveaways or these lead magnets where you can just make this call to action, right? Hey, who wants this 30-minute training on how you can hit $50,000 a month in just 4 steps? And the cool thing is a lot of people in your group, since they know you, they trust you, they're going to want this content. They're going to say, hey, I would love to get access. And the nice thing is then you could DM them. You can have a bit of the conversations in the private messages and potentially book a call. And worst case, they don't want to book a call with you, but you just send them the training and then they can just nurture themselves on that, and they'll still become more trusting of your brand because they're seeing your awesome content and it's actually making a huge difference. And I like to do this at least once a week so I can get these opt-ins and get more conversations and sales calls booked week in, week out. Now, I actually have a lot of webinars that I'll run in my group. For example, how do you scale to 7 figures by hiring appointment setters? Or, hey, here's this PDF that goes really deep into how to generate leads organically. I will be putting here as evergreen content so that when people actually want to check out my content, they can watch it on their own time so they can continuously nurture, see that I'm a credible person, see that I'm an expert in my craft, and over time it just makes it easier and easier for me to start booking meetings with them. Now, the final strategy that I want to talk about is how you can do cold outbound messaging to generate leads. Now, just like before, you're still going to be starting by finding a Facebook group with your particular audience, but rather than sharing content, you can actually just DM the members cold and try to book a meeting with them. Now, there is going to be a much lower conversion rate here because, of course, they don't know who you are. but you could essentially replace the high conversion rate with just having a lot of volume, right? So one of the ways in which I like to make this more efficient is by using this tool called Pepper. And Pepper allows you to essentially send out 50 friend requests and messages every single day. And that way, you can actually have conversations with all of these people that are in theory a good fit for you because they're in the correct groups. And then you can just convince them over the DMs that they should eventually book a call with you and potentially even work with you. The nice thing about Pepper is that it allows you to actually put in some keywords. And that way you'll only message the people that fit your specific description box, right? So this is where the automated message would go. And then once you save it and run it, it'll essentially just go on its own and start DMing a ton of potential prospects. Now, this is also a tool that I have personally used to great success. And if you want to try this out for free, you can actually find a link in my description box below and you can check it out. Now, something that you might be recognizing by now is that regardless of which strategy you end up using, whether it be sharing content in other groups or running your own Facebook group or even just cold DMing a bunch of prospects on Facebook, a lot of this meeting booking and growth will actually require you to spend time in the DMs. But the reality is the DMs are quite time consuming. If every single day you have 100, 200 direct messages coming in, it's really difficult to actually juggle all of this, book meetings, close deals, work with your clients simultaneously. And that's why I would highly recommend that you start thinking about hiring an appointment setter once you have this many DMs running. Because for me, my business only really was able to break $50,000 a month once I was able to delegate. And when I had not just one, but even 2 appointment setters working full time, filling up my sales calendar for me. And if you have never actually executed this strategy before, it can be pretty difficult. And that's why I created this video that goes into extreme depth about how you can actually find appointment setters, how you can manage them, how you can train them, and how you can ultimately build a setting machine that will allow you to hit 50K, 100K, even 250K a month in terms of revenue or profit. So check that video out here. And by the way, guys, if you're also looking to try to scale and you think that using social media or outbound messaging or even building sales teams could be part of your path to success, then you should book a call with me in my description box below. My calendar link is there, and I can share with you a couple recommendations. I have a ton of clients, whether it be Fernando, who runs an agency. He's hit 6 figures a month. Christopher, he runs a consulting firm. He's also been able to hit 6 figures a month. Ria, 90K a month. I would love to help you out as well in order to build your sales machine so that you can ultimately achieve the growth that you're looking for. So thank you so much for watching. Here are a couple other videos that might be very valuable to you if you're trying to scale your business. And with that being said, I'll see you next time. Cheers.